Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. My name's Ryan. I'm a former Royal Marines Commando from the United Kingdom. Today we're going to be reacting to a video titled How Hard is Delta Force Selection? I've never done Delta Force Selection, so I can't comment on how hard it is. I can tell you how hard I think it is. It's going to be up there with one of the hardest courses you could possibly do in the military worldwide, okay? And the reason I say that is based on who Delta Force were modelled off, and you look at the British Special Forces, how hard that selection is. I have every faith and understanding that Delta Force selection is going to be absolutely hideous, guys. But this is a new type of video we're going to be reacting to today, so hopefully we're allowed to do it. Original content, as always, will be in the description, guys. Go and show some love. Let's just get straight into it.
Well, let's get into OTC.
Shawn Ryan.
You made it.
One of the best
selection,
channels on the
going through the training pipeline.
on the platform.
What's day one?
I remember
Day
showing
one,
up
boot
being like, man, this place is serious.
Right, look at this guy, right? If you seen him in a bar somewhere, you wouldn't really think he's an operator. You'd just be thinking a normal dude. Maybe he's, I don't know, works in construction or something. But that's the difference with these guys. They don't really look like the job title, if that makes sense, which is even more impressive when you think about the job that they actually do.
And I'm like, I was so like lighthearted. A lot of that was, I think, like a defense mechanism. Like, oh, you smiling and happy. You gotta like me, you know? But that was actually one of the only times I took a photo and didn't smile, was when we checked in that day. Because it's like, da, 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 and then they get your badge, and I'm just like, in like a collared shirt, like dressed down, you know? And I was like, damn it. Looking back on it, I was like, it's the only one they got. Because I smiled in every other photo, which is...
That's like the rabbit in the headlights moment, isn't it? He's shock of capture, thinking, what the hell's going on here? It's real now, okay? I have to do everything correctly, otherwise I'm off course.
Like kind of, if you look at the wall, it's like, where all the graduating classes, there isn't, for one, there isn't like a, oh, they're going to graduate 12 people per operators and direct support. Like, it's going to be this many. No, you'll see classes with one, you'll see two, but they have them historically across since 1978. And it's really cool to be a part of that. Once you finish, I mean, the training course, but that's only the beginning. You know?
How long is the training course?
It's about 6 months of, you know, we're very heavily focused in marksmanship and close quarters battle. So I'm really focused in hostage rescue and learning what it actually means to, you have a new job. Like you come with your body of experiences and different services and different, you know, jobs, and that's cool. But if you can't let go of the fact that you're being asked to do a new one, you won't make it.
That's interesting that he states that. So he's not giving too much away with what goes on. 6 months long, similar to UK Special Forces Group in terms of SAS and SBS, about 6-ish months long for training. It's widely understood, to be honest with you. There's quite a lot of information out there what that selection process entails. There's a lot of information, to be honest. So you're doing about 4 to 6 weeks of the hills phase, literally by yourself across Wales, land navigation, individual, okay? Pretty hard. A lot of the course tends to fail at that point, all right? It is hard, guys. We've soldiered in Wales quite a bit. And a lot is asked of them, a lot of miles, a lot of weight, gradual up to the point of doing like 40 odd 50 miles or something across you know, Wales in the final finale type thing on there. And then you go to the jungle, then you do all of your extra stuff, all of your you know, soldiering type things and extra training, and then you do like a SEER package: survive, escape, resist, evade. He isn't really giving us too information of what they got up to, other than it's a new job and it's nothing like the one you've done, probably.
I say make it. You never make it. Even when even when you graduate and go across the hall, it's selection is an ongoing event.
What's the attrition rate like? Once you're
That's
in.
when there isn't like there's no metric to it's truly like a like it only takes one person to believe in you for you to make it like to the next gate, and but at a certain point, if everyone is unanimous, you're gone through the training course, and then beyond that, like everyone's job is on the chopping block.
Yeah, it sounds. I mean, my experience of that in the Royal Marines. For those of you that don't know, I went through commando training pretty much twice. Okay, I joined when I was 16, and then a little bit later in life, when I eventually got my Green Beret. Now, the first time I was in, the attrition rate was, a lot of people failed. I think my original course, there was about 4 or 5 originals on that out of 80 who went through, and then thousands before them to get to that spot on 80. So it was pretty tough. But the second time I went through, pretty much they couldn't fail anyone up until about halfway through, until you had like a test exercise. Granted, you had loads of people leave anyway, but in terms of failing and getting rid of people, it didn't really happen up until about week 15. Then they started getting rid. So training did change. Special forces and things like that. I know that I've got friends in and stuff, and I understand how it works to a degree. They're not bothered if they fail everyone on the course. If the standard isn't where it is, where it needs to be, they'll not accept anyone. They have the power of attorney to do that. So what he's saying there is there's no real metric, because it could be any amount at the end of the course getting through. So I understand what he means there.
It's yours. It's yours. They're gonna hand you a tool. Here's your hooligan tool, Halligan. Be the best hooligan tool carrier there is, and then they're gonna slowly ask you to do more and do more as your aperture starts to open, and you can see more of the room, see more of your awareness starts to pick up, because it's not. I mean, they've already selected the right person. And now it's just a matter of
makes sense.
This person like continuing to adapt and develop to the environments that we're throwing him in.
So it never ends.
No, it's you struggle to be mediocre in a place like that, in the highest performing group of people on this planet in one place, and it's a lot, but it just depends on what your priorities are. What's your goals?
Where did you go?
I went to one of the Saber squadrons.
One of the what?
Saber squadrons. So the historics, and this is the history of the unit, was during the 70s. There was a lot of the not kidnap ransom, but the flights were being held hostage, and airliners, excuse me, and the military, DoD, was asked to, all right, here's a problem set. What's your answer, or what's your solution? So the DoD looked at large in the 70s and were like,
didn't have it.
We got this. Maybe they could do it, and like an airline takedown.
I'm guessing that's where they probably had to look at the UK.
Aircraft takedown, and the answer was we didn't have something. So,
that makes sense.
His vision with the 2-2 SAS, spending time there, and the regiment in the United Kingdom, adopted and founded what was originally the 2A and B squadron, and everything was built off of that. The spine is the long hallway where the 2 Saber squadrons are off of it, but then all the support mechanisms are there too. But that's grown to the mission. So, in the 90s, they stood up C, and a C squadron from Black Hawk Down and Mogadishu, and in that time frame. And then in the late 2009, they stood up a 4th squadron, and then we grew exponentially to dismantle the caliphate.
Yeah, so effectively they were founded off the back of the British Special Forces, okay? Because we had a long history of we've look as a military, as a country, we've had a long time to develop a very, very good military, including our special forces as well. So it's not a bad thing to model yourself off, arguably the best special forces on the planet. Now, knowing how America does things, they take things, make it bigger and better. So it's not like it's a copycat situation right now. They've got something that works on a global scale with a massive amount of funding that they can launch pretty much anything, anytime, anywhere. All right. And there's probably no limit to what they can achieve as well. When you look at that task force that the Americans and Great Britain created, you look at that and you think, wow, there's an awful lot of talent there. You've got all of the special forces groups in one kind of in one entity doing things on a global scale. So yeah, these guys, you can't say they're better, or is SAS better, or is the SBS better. They're all at the knife edge doing the knife edge stuff, and they're working together in many cases, guys. So it's same stuff, different unit, if that makes sense.
In ISIS, because the whole political environment of we can't go back into boots on the ground again and this and that. We're like, what the fuck are we gonna do? They're gonna come here and cut our heads off.
Yeah.
They're literally cutting Americans' heads off. Like, what are we doing about it? Well, we got these units out there that can you reach out, touch somebody. Okay, cool. That's great to be a part of, which I was, and but that's only one piece of it.
Mm-hmm.
Like, we have to we underestimated them by a lot. And once we got a look under the hood, going out and in early 2015, when we were going after the Abu Saif and Abu Tunisia, they were like the oil emir, and they were just running oil in the black market, and like they took over old oil refinery towns and forced labor, and if you wouldn't work, they kill you.
Wow.
From the Syrian people, and but they were also Kayla Mueller was the last American that was alive, and we tried to go and rescue on a couple attempts, her and a few others, but we were always just a little bit, and I say it's a big moving piece to get us over into those positions and then not spook them, and there's so much that goes into it, and you get really one swing at it, and then you have to. Bottom line is that it's just the pure evil, I'm in radical extremism. You take Al Qaeda, you take ISIS, and then you make ISIS into the Sunni extremists, where we you govern from a political campaign promise, and you pull us out of Iraq, and two things happen. The Sunni extremism takes the fuck off, and then guess who hates them? Shia, Iran. They come in and fill our void, where we as a country left in 2010, 11, 12 in Iraq, and and then it's then it becomes this enemy of my enemy is my friend, and because everyone hated ISIS, but we had to operate in that environment. I say we, as representatives of the U.S. government, battle space owners, even our unit became battle space owners. It's what we're out there with the Syrian Democratic Forces. You got one of us and hundreds of Syrian SDF real time pushing this flot, while Russia's coming from this side. Iran's just doing all its thing and trying to wipe Israel off the face of the earth. And that's where they've always wanted to get to. And this was an opportunity they seized years ago. And the only thing that kept them from going straight to there was ISIS. And it kept them, more preoccupied, while we had to grow to the ability to to hold terrain. We're the hostage rescue direct action, like high value target force.
I didn't realize you guys were doing that shit.
Yeah, this whole boots on the ground shit, like.
Right, so to give people a little bit of understanding where he's going with that, they are talking about pretty much owning battle space and having boots on the ground over there and dominating and holding ground, okay? That's something that, against, you know, your belief or most people's belief who haven't any experience in the military, is for, you know, your tier 2 and below forces, okay? You've got, you know, the regular army units, for instance, who will do that. You know, in the invasion of Iraq, the battle space was pretty much owned by, you know, the majority of the army, and then you had elements of the Marines and stuff who were doing the same thing. But these guys, the guys who are doing the direct action on target, SF, they're in, they're out, and they're doing, you know, specific jobs for specific reasons. They're not holding ground and holding it in a way that, for instance, I would when I was in the Royal Marines, okay? What we did, or what the lads did when they were out in Afghanistan and Iraq as well. So what he's talking about here is being overstretched, I think. Overstretched in a way where they're going well with outside of their remit of what they're supposed to be doing. I mean, imagine this. You've got guys holding areas in occupied hostile territory, okay? Specialist individuals, hundreds of thousands of pounds, or dollars in this case, millions in fact, worth of infrastructure into one guy just to get him to that point of training in time to be able to go and operate in these guys. In these areas, supposed to be doing certain missions, you know, i.e. their money's worth, but they're holding ground instead. Not their job. And that must have been frustrating for him.
So I have a very, like, people ask me under different presidential, like, times, like, you know, what'd you think about serving under this or that? Like, for Obama, for example, I have a skewed, like, perspective of what it's like to serve in the military during that time frame, because I got to do my job. Us in SEAL Team 6 got to go and fucking get after it, you know? But at a certain point, like, we just became, well, they'll just deal with it. They got it. That button, they push that button and we're like, and there ain't no return button on there. Like, how do you get home? So there's no, like, fucking, oh yeah, you guys got to get back. Okay, cool. And this like, going and doing that mission, like, it was the perfect size target for a squadron of us to flood, you know. And we went so deep into, we caught them with their pants down. They were literally like, oh my God, the Americans are here. And I think we killed like 40 of them. Like, internal to the target, we probably killed 12 to 15. Close range, and then external target, they were running down the streets, dark as fuck, just shooting fucking wrong buildings and stuff, man, and just getting their jihad on. And you're like up there just like,
what the hell?
They went back up to the roof to go throw the fast ropes off the top of the roof, and the snipers are up there just filling dudes in. And I was just like, what is going on up here? It was a firefight from the moment we got in until the moment we left.
Hey everybody, I'm Shawn Ryan.
That is, it's a slow pace watch. Okay, it's slow to watch that. You have to be able to listen, take in what he's saying. It's quite hard for me to do, actually. All right, I haven't got a lot of patience in that regard, but good video nonetheless to be able to give us a little bit of a sneak peek of how hard Delta Force selection is. I don't think that question was answered. It's quite, you know, he's jumping about. But that's common, all right? It's understandable. He looks like he's been involved in some pretty hardcore stuff, a lot more hardcore stuff than me anyway, so all praise to him. And yeah, original video link will be in the description, guys. Hopefully I'm allowed to react to this. If you do like this, please like, share, subscribe to the channel. It really helps me out. And drop a comment for the algorithm troops. Thank you.